What if I told you that the next high-value piece of home decor sitting in someone's living room might have started its life as a pile of rusted metal in a scrapyard, ignored, dirty, and completely overlooked by almost everyone who walked past it? Think about that for a second. When you hear the word scrapyard, what comes to mind? Probably waste, broken parts, maybe even something you would avoid. But here is where things get interesting. In the United States alone, millions of tons of scrap metal are processed every year, and a large portion of it is sold at extremely low prices, simply because it is seen as raw material, not finished value. Now here is the question I want you to sit with. What happens when you take something that is valued for its weight and transform it into something valued for its design? Because that is exactly where the opportunity is hiding. Over the past few years, there has been a noticeable shift in the home decor market. More people are moving away from mass-produced furniture and toward pieces that feel unique, industrial, and story-driven. If you look at current trends across platforms like Etsy, Pinterest, and even major retailers, industrial-style decor is not just popular, it is growing. Items made from metal pipes, reclaimed steel, and vintage hardware are being sold at premium prices, not because of the material alone, but because of how it is presented. So let me ask you this. If people are paying hundreds of dollars for industrial-style decor, and the raw materials are sitting in scrapyards for a fraction of that cost, what is really creating the value? Let me tell you a quick story to make this real. There is someone I will call Marcus. Marcus lives in a typical American suburb, works a steady job, and like many people, started looking for ways to make extra income without taking on a second job. One weekend, he visited a local scrapyard with a friend who was looking for car parts. While walking through rows of discarded metal, something caught his attention. Not a complete product, not anything polished, just a collection of old iron pipes stacked in a corner. Most people would not think twice about it, but Marcus paused and asked himself a simple question. What could this become? At first, he did not have a clear answer, but he took a few pieces home anyway. And here is something important to notice. Opportunity often starts with curiosity, not certainty. So let me ask you, how many times have you ignored something simply because you did not immediately see its potential? Back at home, Marcus started experimenting. He cleaned the pipes, removed rust, and began assembling them into a simple structure. It was not perfect, but it was functional. A small industrial-style shelf. Nothing fancy. But when he stepped back and looked at it, something clicked. It did not look like scrap anymore. It looked intentional. It looked like something you might see in a modern apartment or a trendy coffee shop. So he decided to test it. He took a few photos, listed it online, and waited. And here is where it gets interesting. Within days, someone reached out, not just asking about the price, but asking if he could make a custom version to fit their space. Now pause for a second and think about that. Why would someone want to pay more for something made from discarded metal? Because what they were buying was not the metal. They were buying the design, the uniqueness, and the story behind it. This is where the shift happens. When you move from thinking about materials as raw input to thinking about them as part of a finished experience. And that shift is what creates high value. Now let us connect this to what is happening in the market right now. Consumers in the United States are increasingly drawn to products that feel authentic. Reclaimed materials are no longer seen as second-hand or inferior. In many cases, they are seen as premium. Why? Because they carry character. Small imperfections, textures, and signs of age that mass-produced items cannot replicate. And when those elements are combined with clean design and functionality, the result is something that stands out immediately. So here is the question. Are you looking at materials the way everyone else does? Or are you looking at what they could become? Another important layer to this is the concept of perceived value. A piece of scrap metal might be worth a few dollars by weight, But when that same metal is transformed into a well-designed wall shelf, light fixture, or table base, its value is no longer tied to weight. It is tied to design, usefulness, and how it fits into someone's lifestyle. That is how a $10 piece of metal can become a $100 product. But let me ask you something deeper. What actually makes something feel high value to a buyer? Is it the material itself, or is it the way it is presented? The finish, the details, and the story behind it? Because this is where most people either succeed or completely miss the opportunity. Marcus started to notice this as well. His first few pieces were simple, but as he paid attention to feedback, he began refining his designs. Smoother finishes, better proportions, more attention to detail. And something interesting happened. The more intentional his designs became, the more people were willing to pay. Not because his materials change, but because the perception of his work changed. Now, think about this. If two people use the same scrap metal, but one focuses on craftsmanship and presentation while the other does not, who do you think commands the higher price? This is where the idea of turning scrapyard finds into showroom pieces really comes to life. It is not about the material. It is about the transformation. And we have not even touched on the range of possibilities yet. Because metal opens up a wide variety of product ideas. Wall-mounted shelves, industrial lighting, plant holders, table frames, decorative accents, even mixed material designs that combine wood and metal for a modern look. And here is the key question. Which of these products do you think people are more likely to buy on impulse? Smaller, functional decor items. Because just like in other markets, lower price points often lead to more frequent purchases. Someone might hesitate to buy a large piece of furniture, but a unique metal wall accent or a small industrial shelf feels accessible. And when you can produce multiple smaller items from a single batch of materials, your potential revenue increases. Now, let me ask you this. Would you rather spend days building one large item or create multiple smaller items that sell faster and more consistently? This is where strategy starts to matter. Another layer that is often overlooked is sourcing. Not all scrapyards are the same. Some specialize in certain types of metal. Others have more variety. Learning where to find the right materials can give you a significant advantage. And once you understand what to look for, shapes, textures, and structural integrity, you start seeing opportunities everywhere. But here is something I want you to think about carefully. If the materials are cheap, the demand is growing, and the designs can be learned and improved over time. What is actually stopping most people from doing this? That is exactly what we are going to break down next, along with how to position your products, where to sell them, and how to turn this from a simple idea into something that generates consistent income. What if I told you that the difference between a pile of rusted metal and a $500 decor piece is not the material itself, but the story you attach to it and the way you present it? Because this is where everything comes together. And it is also where most people either unlock real profit or give up too early. Think about what we have covered so far. You have sourcing figured out. You understand how to identify pieces with potential. You have a basic transformation process. But here is the real question. How do you turn that into something people are willing to pay premium prices for without feeling like you were just selling scrap with a fancy description? Let me take you back to Daniel for a moment, because his turning point did not come from building more items. It came from changing how he presented them. Up until that point, he was listing his creations online with simple photos and basic descriptions. Industrial pipe lamp, metal shelf, handmade decor. And while those listings did okay, they did not stand out. They blended in with thousands of other similar items. Then one day, almost by accident, he tried something different. Instead of just showing the final product, he showed the transformation. He posted a photo of the original rusted metal, then the cleaning process, and finally the finished piece styled in a warm living room setting. And something interesting happened. People did not just see a product anymore. They saw a story. They saw craftsmanship. They saw value. So here is a question for you. When someone looks at your product, are they just seeing an object? Or are they seeing a transformation they want to be part of? Because that difference alone can double or even triple what people are willing to pay. And this is backed by what we are seeing in current market trends. Products that highlight sustainability, craftsmanship, and uniqueness consistently outperform generic mass-produced decor. Buyers are not just shopping for function anymore. They are shopping for meaning. They want something that feels intentional, something that stands out, something that sparks conversation when someone walks into their home. Now let us talk about pricing, because this is where a lot of people hold themselves back. There is this instinct to price low because you are working with inexpensive materials. You think, well, I got this metal for almost nothing, so I should keep the price low. But that is the wrong way to think about it. Customers are not paying for your raw materials. They are paying for the finished piece, the design, the time, and the story behind it. Let me ask you this. If two items look identical, but one is presented as a handmade reclaimed piece with a story, and the other is just listed as a metal object, which one feels more valuable? And more importantly, which one would you expect to cost more? Daniel learned this the hard way. For months, he underpriced his work, thinking it would help him sell faster. And it did, but it also attracted the wrong type of buyer. People who were looking for cheap deals, not quality. When he finally raised his prices and improved his presentation, something surprising happened. His sales did not drop. In fact, they improved. Because now he was attracting buyers who valued what he created. And this is something you need to understand if you want to turn this into real income. Pricing is not just about numbers. It is about positioning. Now here is another layer most people overlook. Where you sell matters just as much as what you sell. Think about this. A handcrafted metal wall piece listed on a generic marketplace might struggle to get attention. But the same piece, placed in a curated environment like Etsy, a local boutique, or even a well-presented Instagram shop, suddenly feels different. It feels premium. It feels intentional. So here is the question. Are you placing your work in front of the right audience? Or are you hoping the right audience finds you? And let us not ignore the power of local markets. Farmers markets, craft fairs, and pop-up events have seen a steady increase in popularity across the United States, especially for handmade and sustainable products. Why? Because people want to connect with the maker. They want to hear the story directly. They want to feel the weight of the product in their hands. Daniel tested this by setting up a small booth at a weekend market. He brought a mix of items, some priced under $50, and a few statement pieces over $200. By the end of the day, he sold out of his smaller items and even took custom orders for larger pieces. And here is the interesting part. The conversations he had that day led to repeat customers and referrals. That is something you do not get as easily with online sales alone. So now you might be wondering, how do you scale something like this without turning it into a full-time job immediately? Because that is a real concern. And the answer is simpler than you might think. You start by standardizing a few designs. Instead of constantly reinventing the wheel, you create a small collection of repeatable products. Maybe it is a signature pipe lamp, a specific style of wall shelf, or a unique candle holder. This allows you to streamline your process, reduce decision fatigue, and increase efficiency. At the same time, you can still offer custom pieces at a higher price point for clients who want something unique. And here is a question I want you to think about. What would happen if you dedicated just a few hours each weekend to this? Not every day, not full-time, just consistent effort. Could that turn into a side income? Could it eventually replace a portion of your current income? Because based on what we are seeing in the market, the demand is there. The only question is whether you are willing to take advantage of it. Now let us zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. This is not just about turning scrap metal into decor. It is about shifting how you see value. Most people walk past scrapyards and see junk. You are learning to see opportunity. And that mindset shift alone can open doors far beyond this one idea. Because once you start recognizing hidden value in overlooked places, you begin to think differently about everything. About materials, about business, about income. And as we come to the end of this, I want to leave you with one final thought. Somewhere near you right now, there is a piece of discarded metal sitting unused, ignored, waiting to be picked up. And the only difference between that piece staying where it is and becoming something valuable is whether someone decides to see it differently. So the question is, will that someone be you? If this opened your eyes to a new way of thinking about materials, money, and creativity, share it with someone who needs a fresh perspective. And if you want more ideas like this, real practical ways to turn simple resources into something valuable, make sure you stay connected to this channel. Because this is just one of many opportunities hiding in plain sight.